Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jyamudiyayat Nastabhesya Bhadrasu Nityam Bharata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamastuke Bhakti Bhakti Naistuki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 8, the prayers of Queen Kunti, text 36. Shrimvanti Gayanti Srinanta Abhikshanasa Smaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Chana Taiva Pasyant Achirena Tavakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padam Bhujam. I read the word for word translation. Shrimvanti, hear. Gayanti, chant. Srinanti, take. Abhikshnasa, continuously. Smaranti, remember. Nandanti, take pleasure. Tava, your. Hitam, activities. Jana, people in general. They, Eva, certainly. Pashanti, can see. Achirena, very soon. Tavakam, your bhava pravaha, the current, bhava pravaha, the current of rebirth. Uparamam, cessation. Pada ambujam, lotus feet. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So purport. The Supreme Lord Krishna cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life, full of spontaneous love of Godhead. When Sri Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasandha, and Sisupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general, but in spite of such hearing, sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. The reason is that the first item, Shravan, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service. Hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first, one should select a competent and bona fide speaker, and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired fruit, the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from his dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings with the Asuras and others. And in the 10th canto, the sublime dealings with his conjugal associates, the gopis, as well with his married wives at Dwarka, are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people in an unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about the dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feelings of the hearer. So a bona fide speaker of the dealings of the Lord never indulges in such hearings. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scriptures, and that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. We must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and the Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relationship with him. Hearing of all the scriptures is essential. The verse again. Shivanti Gayanti Hinanta Bhikshnasa Smaranti Nandanti Tafetam Shana Tai Papachan Tai Chena Tafakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padam Bhujam. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, surely see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. I got a message that my internet connection is unstable, but we are continuing. Om Ajnana Timandasya Jananjana Shanakya Sakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah Chitchaitanya Manopishtam Staptam Yena Bhutaleshvam Upakadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padakam Shiyum Vaishnavam Sha Shiyupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Pitam Tam Sativam Sadvitam Savutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagalita Shivashakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopka Kanta Radha Kanta State Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwar Vishwan Sutta Devi Pranamama Hare Pancha Kaltubisha, Kripasan Vivasha, Padnam Pamanyo, Vaishnavyo, Namani, Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadha, Shiva, Sadhika, Ramakta, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pachalini. Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskachaya Kesavata. So Queen Kunti prays those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can see the repetition of birth and death. So she explains what the process is to see the Supreme Lord. One can see the Supreme Lord if one continuously hear and chant his transcendental activities. But that starts with hearing. So someone may ask us, yes, did you see God? Or our answer is, yes, we see God all the time. But you must be qualified to understand this. An example, someone can see, do you see the atoms? Yes, because everything is made of atoms. Everything we see is made of atoms, so we see the atoms. That in that way, Krishna is in every atom, and between every atom, we see also Krishna. Krishna is included. But that vision of seeing God will only takes only place according to our level of consciousness. Like I share another screen. This is an excerpt from Krishna book. And this is from chapter 43 of the 10th canto, the killing of the elephant Kuvalaya Pida. So here we can see how different persons saw Krishna differently. So when Krishna entered the wrestling arena with Balaram and their friends, he appeared differently to people according to their different relationships, rasas with him. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasures and all kinds of rasas, both favorable and unfavorable. So it must be said in these examples, some are devotees, have devotion, and some are atheists. So how do they see Krishna different? He appeared to the wrestlers exactly like a thunderbolt, because Krishna will be as a thunderbolt for them in the fight. To the people in general, he appeared as the most beautiful personality. To the females, he appeared to be the most attractive male Cupid personified, and thus increased their lust. The coward men who were present there looked upon Krishna as their own kinsman, coming from the same village of Vrindavan. So that is a devotional vision. They were under Yoga Maya. Krishna is one of us. So the impious Kshatriya kings who were present saw him as the strongest ruler and their chastiser. But, to the parents of Krishna, Nanda and Yasoda, he appeared to be a most loving child. To Kamsa, the king of Bhoja dynasty, he appeared to be death personified. To the unintelligent, he appeared to be an incapable personality. That was their vision. To the yogis present, he appeared to be the super soul. That was their conception. The absolute truth is super soul. Huh? To the members of the Vishnu dynasty, he appeared to be the most celebrated descendant. Thus, appreciate differently by different kinds of people, Krishna entered the wrestling arena with Balaram and his coward friends. So we see different kinds of people see Krishna in a different way. But to develop devotion for Krishna, to see practically Krishna, we must be established in our relationship with Krishna. And that starts with hearing that process. This process is also explained by Prahlad Maharaj, that this is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanavanam Dasam Sakyam Vedana. So these are 9 processes. But the first is Shravanam, hearing. But one must hear and get the right information. So one must hear from someone who has seen Krishna and who knows Krishna as he is. So that is important. In the purport here, Srila Prabhupada speaks about hearing from the bona fide source. That once a couple came to Srila Prabhupada and said to Prabhupada, it was an elderly couple, Indian, but it was in India. And they asked Prabhupada, please tell us about the rasa dance and the gopis. And Prabhupada said, no, I cannot do that. And they asked him 2 times more, but Srila Prabhupada then said, maybe you are qualified to hear it, but I'm not qualified to speak about it. But what's the problem mostly? They want to hear about the gopis because they see it as a romance between boys and girls. It's to fulfill their lusty desires. One must be qualified to hear such topics. Prabhupada explains in the purport also. There are many topics in the Bhagavatam. The topics of the Pandavas, and so many pastimes to all these so many pastimes to these first 9 cantos. But they are as good as the 10th canto, with whatever part is. It is about Krishna and the devotees and their relationship with Krishna. But one must hear from a right source. The right source is a pure devotee of Krishna. Like when Lord Chaitanya was explaining, when he first came in Jagannath Puri, he went to see Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, and in ecstasy he fell down. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was the head priest, he was seeing what happened. And some of the pujaris, that pundits, they were thinking maybe it's someone who is not sincere, who is feigning that he is, who is fake, who is trying to do as if he is in great ecstasy. But Sarvabhauma, who was learned, could see that this was transcendental symptoms. And it was like Lord Chaitanya was not breathing anymore. And he was putting some cotton before his nostrils, and he could see that he was still breathing. And he brought him to his house. And then many hours later, he came out of ecstasy. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was very learned in the Vedanta, very learned. And in the meantime, because Lord Chaitanya arrived in Jagannath Puri, but all the other devotees from Bengal came later. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's nephew was Gopinathacharya, and Gopinathacharya told him, Sarvabhauma, Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Sarvabhauma could not see the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He could not recognize Krishna. But then when Lord Chaitanya came to external consciousness, he was very humble, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, you are a sannyasi, that yes, you are, because he took, Lord Chaitanya took sannyas from a Mayavadi, an impersonalist, factually. But he was from a certain order of sannyasis, a lower order. And Lord Chaitanya said, you are very, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said to Lord Chaitanya, you are very young, that the senses are very strong. If you are still young, it's very dangerous to take sannyas at such a young age. So I will, but if you have sufficient knowledge, then you will be able to overcome that. So I will teach you Vedanta, that will make you stronger. And Lord Chaitanya, very humbly accepted. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, I will make you a Saraswati sannyasi. That anyway, Sarvabhauma started to explain the Vedanta Sutra according to the impersonalist doctrine. And Lord Chaitanya was listening for 7 days, but he did not say anything. He did not say anything. But after 7 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told Lord Chaitanya that you are hearing, but that he said, my dear boy, you are hearing, but you are not asking any questions. Why is this? Is it that you can't understand? What is the reason that you are silent? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he answered, yes, I understand what you are saying, but I'm silent because you are explaining the Vedanta Sutra in a speculative way. Therefore, I'm simply listening to the verses of the Vedanta Sutra, but I'm not actually listening to you. Therefore, you are explaining the meaning foolishly. That Lord Steiner said the verses of the Vedanta Sutra are like sunshine, but your explanations are like clouds that cover them. There's no need for a lamp to see the sun. Everyone can see it, but if the sun is covered by a cloud, it is very difficult to see. So that means that if one does not hear from a bona fide person, one will be cheated. Therefore, one must hear from a qualified person, a pure devotee, who has seen Krishna. And that seeing Krishna begins by hearing. And there's a verse that I always remember of the Srimad Bhagavatam that says how devotees can see the Supreme Lord through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing. I can try to bring it on the screen. It's a verse from the third canto. That's the third canto, chapter 9, Rama's prayers, and then verse 11. That shows how we can see Krishna through the ears. From Bhakti Yoga Paribhavitarit Saroja Ashesha Tekshita Pato Natunata Pumsam Yatyatiyata Urgaya Vibhavayanti Tat Vapupanayase Sadanukahaya. O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed. And you take seed there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So this verse of Queen Kunti explains that we can see Krishna through the hearing, but here it gives more details. We can see the Lord through the hearing, and by that our hearts becomes cleansed, and Krishna takes seat there, and he will manifest himself in the form to which we are attracted to him, and that form is called Ishtadeva. So Krishna must manifest himself to his pure devotees in a form that they feel attracted to. And we see that also in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta, he was a Ram Bhakta. He was always chanting Ram, 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 Ram. And but then when Lord Chaitanya said that you should chant the Hare Krishna mantra, because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord Ram is his incarnation. And Murari Gupta said, yes, I will try. But then the next day he came back and he said, I tried the whole night, but I could not forget Ram. I cannot do it. And Lord Chaitanya said, yes, you are Hanuman. So that's why he could not deviate from his service to Ram. So Krishna manifests himself to the heart. And that's also the well, we read in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 7, the purpose of yoga is described. That Chitatmana Prashantasma para Paramatma Samaita. And when the mind becomes pure, then the Paramatma, the super soul in the heart, becomes manifested. That, but here is mentioned in this verse that if we hear about Krishna, then Krishna will take place in our heart. So the super soul takes a form of Krishna and the form that we feel attracted to. That it's not a four-armed form that the yogis see. We see Krishna in our heart. So it's a process of bona fide hearing. That because and that will revive our knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. The spiritual knowledge is in us. It's innate. We cannot remove it, but we have forgotten it. We have all spiritual amnesia. We have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. We have to revive our memory, our transcendental memory. It's in our spiritual body. That memory is reactivated by this bona fide hearing. And that bona fide hearing, Prabhupada said, you should always hear. That, and then Krishna will manifest in our heart. That is described also in Nectar of Instruction, text 8. As Srila Prabhupada writes that when we chant, and one comes at a certain moment, at the stage Smaranavasta. Smaranavasta is the state of remembering. But to come to that state of remembering Krishna, you must first have heard Shravanam. First Shravanam, and by hearing, you will accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as your only shelter, and so on, Dasparanadasa. And then he will come manifest in your heart. That in the form you feel attracted to. But Krishna reciprocates according to our surrender. First, we need to become receptive. We become receptive when we hear about Krishna and when we live a life in a mode of goodness. Goodness. Stop sinful activities, that have a clean life, engage in devotional activities, then gradually our heart becomes cleansed. And then Krishna will appear. But he appears gradually, Prabhupada explains. Smaranavasta. Some we remember him, some not. But once we come to constantly remember Krishna, then our meditation of the holy name comes deeper. Then Krishna will reveal his form, his qualities, his beauty, his sweetness, his characteristics. And he will reveal gradually the spiritual world in our heart and his pastimes. So these are the pure devotees. They see Krishna's pastimes constantly in their heart. And therefore, they are most qualified to speak about Krishna. If we hear from them, then we will become attracted and our heart will become cleansed. If we hear from academics of those who have no devotion, no realization, they didn't see Krishna. They cannot speak on Krishna. Their speaking is offensive. By hearing from them, we go backwards. Our hearts become contaminated. So that's a very important point. Sometimes they are organizing in India Bhagavad Saptaha, 7 days hearing the Bhagavatam. Then you have some speakers who want to make themselves famous or whatever. That will not help. That is not a process which is mentioned here. That the process is started here from the bona fide person. Bona fide person in the Guru Parampara, but this knowledge of Krishna, and Krishna is in our heart. And Krishna will be revealed in our heart. Gradually, that and this knowledge of our relationship with Krishna will be revealed. It will be revealed in 2 ways, from within the heart and outside, by hearing. From 2 ways, from the spiritual master, outside, from all the Shiksha gurus and all the speakers of the Bhagavatam. And inside, where Krishna will cleanse our heart and also reveal. There's a process that works 2 sides, that one must associate with bona fide devotees of the Lord and become engaged in bona fide devotional service. So our path is to hear from these bona fide devotees. And Prabhupada writes here in the Prabhupada, by this bona fide hearing process, the neophyte devotees become cleansed of all material rubbish, and thus they become attached to one of my transcendental forms as described in the Vedas. So that's the bona fide process, hearing from the bona fide source. And if you hear from the bona fide source, then automatically, that this is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, that that hearing has various effects. And Srila Vyasadeva speaks about the effects of hearing Krishna Katha in the Bhagavatam. In the previous chapter, we discussed that first, he describes our condition. Our condition in this world is that we cannot see Krishna. We are in the body concept of life, and we are in illusion. What is this illusion? That's described by Sutta Goswami in 175. This is Srila Vyasadeva speaking. Narada Muni had given him the direction to meditate on the absolute truth with devotion. And from that meditation, he could see in the material world that due to the external energy, the living entity, although the living entity is transcendental, is a soul, it's transcendental to the material modes. He thinks himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. So we think we are a human being. Yeah, we think we are the son or daughter of that. And this is my wife, this is my husband, that's my son, grandson, and so on. And we become attached into these illusions. But every moment you can go out. It's nothing to do with the soul. These relations can stop every moment. But we are in illusion. And this is a formidable, heavy illusion which is difficult to overcome. And that is confirmed by Yudhishthira Maharaj. A Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, what's the most amazing thing in this world? And Yudhishthira Maharaj says, yeah, the most amazing thing is everyone is living in this world like they are going to permanently settle in the material world. But every moment they can go out. That so we are not all these relationships in the material world are ephemeral, soon all finished. But we have real relationships with Krishna. And that's an eternal relationship. And that we have forgotten. That so therefore, to get that back, that relationship, we must perform devotional service. That and therefore, to perform this devotional service is a Vedic literature, especially this Bhagavatam, which explains us how to establish our relationship with Krishna. But that process starts with oral reception, hearing. And when you hear about Krishna from the Bhagavatam, then this loving devotion, the devotion for Krishna will develop. That and all your lamentation, illusion, and fear will go because you come out of this illusion. You have understood. You will understand quickly if you're bona fide to that bona fide hearing regularly. That this material world is not worth anything. That we came here to pass through. We came here to suffer in these bodies. That's all. But the suffering is due to our misidentification with these bodies. And that goes away by here. You identify in your relationship with Krishna. And it's not the body that has a relationship with Krishna, it's the soul, it's yourself. And that relationship is eternal. The soul has its own thinking, feeling, and willing. But that's spiritual, and we have to reactivate it. And that is by hearing. That. So therefore, Queen Kunti, she advises us here to hear and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Usually in the these verses of the Bhagavatam are also this version of the prayers of Queen Kunti. We find also in teaching of Queen Kunti, but you have the same purpose, but then a little longer. Prabhupada adds many things, and it gives the title here, Crossing Beyond Illusions Currents. So to get rid of this illusion that we are the body, that and to come to our factual situation of our relationship with Krishna, that's the way of transcending birth and death. Once you identify with your spiritual body and your spirit soul in your relationship with Krishna, and you have revived your spiritual body, that's called Siddha-Dehi, then you forget about the material body. Like the Rupa Goswami, externally he was a mendicant, a sannyasi, but internally he was not thinking himself a mendicant and a sannyasi. But he was in the mood of the gopis. He was in his Siddha Swarup, in his spiritual form. The soul is a form. And if you come purified, we realize that. And the Siddha Swarup is Rupa Manjari. And is serving Radha Krishna at Govardhan in Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, internally. But externally is a sannyas. We have to come to that point. That's also the advice that Lord Chaitanya gave to Raghunath Das Goswami. That when he wanted to run away from his family, Lord Chaitanya said, no, you go home and externally you do your business as usual, but internally you should always think of Krishna, like a paramour is always thinking of her lover. So you live internally always with Krishna. And that is what we need to cultivate. But we can only cultivate that after we are purified. Don't try to do it before. That will not happen. At first you have to purify your heart. But it's the same process. The means and the end may be different, but it's the same process that because our process is chanting, hearing about Krishna and so on. And when we develop love for Krishna, we want more to hear about Krishna and more chant. But hearing and chanting about Krishna will purify us. It will purify us quicker if we really desire to be pure. But you have to know what is pure first, and that takes a while before we know what is pure. That pure consciousness is a consciousness of love, only concerned with Krishna, not concerned with your body, with all the other things, or getting benefit, or getting liberation, and that of getting a good time. No, that is not pure devotion. This is materialistic consciousness. We have to understand the difference. And because our consciousness has been contaminated for so long, we are forgetting. We have forgotten what's real love. And we have mistaken ideas about that. But if we understand what's real love, and we really want it, and we pray for Krishna, please take this attachment away. And Krishna makes arrangements, and we will come to that platform. So this is a beautiful verse of Queen Kunti, and many more verses to come, 4, 5 or so, and we have heard many beautiful prayers. It's a great lesson for us that how to develop this appropriate mood to advance in devotional service. So do you have any questions?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, thank you very much, Maharaj. So many times, Maharaj, what happens, we don't get an opportunity to hear. We are just reading from Prabhupada's books. So would that be also considered as Shravanam? Or do we need to, do something else?
Now there's also Shravanam, but I read in the beginning of when I took up devotional service, every evening I was reading 10 pages, 10 verses and purpose of the Bhagavatam. And in 4 years time, I've read the Bhagavatam, all Prabhupada's purpose. But then after that, I started the Bhakti Vaibhava and the Bhaktivedanta course. I went again to everything, but in association of devotees, advanced devotees. And that made a big difference. I started to understand something at that moment. So hearing is okay when associated with Prabhupada, but it becomes much more potent if we discuss it in association of devotees. Therefore, Prabhupada wants us, the morning program, to discuss with each other. And then then Krishna reveals to you the deeper meaning through the discussions of the devotees. Krishna says himself, I'm there where devotees discuss about it. And that really changed my heart. So the first time reading the Bhagavatam was okay, but it didn't deeply change my heart. Only when I discussed it during 10 years, 3 months, a year in association of devotees, it started really to change my heart. So it's much more potent in association of devotees. And when it's combined with service also, have a morning program and worship the deities that cook for Krishna, chant your alms, hear about Krishna. That is the process. It's much more, it's much more profound experience than just reading. Like next summer, I plan to come to Deland to speak again the entire Bhagavad Gita. But that's also for my benefit. I have association of devotees. We speak, we discuss, and every time I get deeper realization right. So that's the process. Don't think you have studied Bhagavad Gita, you know something about Bhagavad Gita. No, you continue. And you get deeper and deeper realization, and you start to realize Bhagavad Gita, the whole Bhagavatam is, the Bhagavatam explains Bhagavad Gita practically, not the deeper meaning. So the more you study the Bhagavatam, after many, many years of study, you know something, you can say something about Bhagavad Gita. So association of devotees is the way to this is sadhu sangha, and that will improve your bhajana prayer. So that is my experience with it, and hope that helps. Any other question? Good. Then I'm looking forward with you again next week. I have to look at my schedule, but I think we could try to do the same next week, Wednesday evening and Thursday morning. If that's okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Right.